Imagine standing on a battlefield where one wrong move means death. Your heart is pounding, sweat drips down your face, and fear threatens to paralyze you. Yet, the samurai warrior beside you remains perfectly calm, breathing steadily, face expressionless, as if he's simply taking a morning walk. What did these ancient warriors know that we don't? For over 700 years, the samurai developed psychological techniques so powerful that they could face death itself without flinching. Today, I'm going to reveal the hidden method they used to become emotionless under pressure, a technique that modern neuroscience has now proven to be one of the most effective ways to control your emotions. And the best part? You can start using it today to transform how you handle stress, anxiety, and high-pressure situations. The philosophy of Mizu no Kokoro. Before we dive into the technique, you need to understand the samurai philosophy that made it possible. The samurai operated under a principle called Mizu no Kokoro, which translates to mind like water. Think about a still pond. When it's calm, it perfectly reflects everything around it. The trees, the sky, every detail crystal clear. But throw a stone into that water, and the reflection distorts. The image becomes chaotic and unrecognizable. Your mind works the same way. When you're calm, you see situations clearly and make better decisions. But when emotions create ripples, fear, anger, anxiety, your perception becomes distorted. You can't think straight. You make mistakes. You freeze up or lash out. The samurai understood something profound. Emotions aren't the enemy. The problem is letting them control you. Why traditional approaches fail? Most people try to suppress their emotions. They tell themselves, don't be nervous, or stop being afraid. But here's the problem. This doesn't work. In fact, trying to suppress emotions often makes them stronger. Studies show that when you try to push down anxiety or fear, your body's stress response actually increases. Your heart rate goes up, cortisol floods your system, and you become even more emotionally reactive. The samurai knew this centuries ago. They didn't try to eliminate emotions. Instead, they developed a way to experience emotions without being controlled by them. They became like that still pond. Emotions could pass through without creating lasting ripples. The technique I'm about to share is called Mushin, which means no mind, or mind without mind. This was the secret weapon that allowed samurai to remain calm in the chaos of battle. Mushin isn't about becoming a robot or shutting down your humanity. It's about creating a state where your mind operates without interference from reactive emotions. You're present, aware, and responsive, but not reactive. Here's how it works, broken down into a method you can practice starting today. The 3 pillars of Mushin. Pillar 1. Breath control. Through Seika Tanden, the samurai believed that breath is the bridge between mind and body. When your breathing is chaotic, your mind is chaotic. When your breathing is controlled, your mind becomes still. The specific breathing technique they used focused on the Seika Tanden, a point about 2 inches below your navel. This isn't mystical nonsense. This area is your body's center of gravity and corresponds to where your diaphragm sits. Here's the exact practice. Sit or stand with your spine straight. Place one hand on your lower abdomen, below your navel. As you breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4, focus on expanding this lower area, not your chest. Your hand should move outward. Hold for a count of 4. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6, feeling your abdomen contract. Hold empty for a count of 2. This 4-4-6-2 pattern activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for calming your body down. Meanwhile, the longer exhale than inhale triggers a relaxation response that's been scientifically proven to reduce cortisol and lower heart rate. The samurai would practice this breathing for hours until it became automatic. In battle, they didn't have to think about breathing calmly. It just happened. Pillar 2. Sensory grounding through Zanshin. The second pillar is called Zanshin, which means remaining mind or lingering awareness. This is about anchoring your consciousness in the present moment through your senses. When you're under pressure, your mind time travels. You're either replaying past failures or imagining future disasters. Neither of these time periods exist right now, but your body reacts as if they do. Zanshin pulls you back to reality. Here's the practice. In any moment of stress, systematically engage each sense. Notice 5 things you can see right now: the color of a wall, the shape of an object, shadows, light. Notice 4 things you can physically feel: your feet on the ground, clothing on your skin, air temperature, the chair beneath you. Notice 3 things you can hear: distant sounds, nearby sounds, the sound of your own breathing. Notice 2 things you can smell. Notice 1 thing you can taste. This technique, which psychologists now call the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding method, interrupts the emotional spiral. You can't simultaneously be lost in fearful thoughts about the future and fully present to your sensory experience. Your brain doesn't work that way. The samurai would train this awareness constantly. They would practice noticing everything in their environment: the sound of leaves, the feeling of wind, the smell of rain. This wasn't meditation for relaxation. It was training for survival. A samurai who was lost in his thoughts could miss the sound of an approaching enemy. Pillar 3. Detached observation through Metsuke. The third pillar is Metsuke, which translates to "I focus," but really means observing without attachment. This is the most powerful part of the technique and the hardest to master. It's about watching your own emotions and thoughts as if you're a third-party observer. When pressure hits and emotions surge, most people become their emotions. You don't think, "I'm experiencing fear." You think, "I am afraid." You become fused with the emotion, and it takes control. The samurai trained to create space between awareness and emotion. They would observe, there is fear present in this body. There are thoughts of danger in this mind. But they didn't identify with these experiences. Here's how to practice this. When an emotion arises, mentally narrate it in third person. Instead of "I'm so anxious," think "there is anxiety present." Instead of "I'm furious," think "anger has appeared." Instead of "I can't handle this," think "thoughts of inadequacy are occurring." This slight shift in language creates psychological distance. You move from being the emotion to being the observer of the emotion. And when you're the observer, the emotion loses its power to control your actions. Modern psychology calls this cognitive diffusion, and research shows it's one of the most effective techniques for emotional regulation. But the samurai figured this out hundreds of years ago, bringing it all together. Now let me show you how to combine these 3 pillars into a single practice you can use anywhere, anytime pressure strikes. Step 1. Breath reset. The moment you feel pressure building, immediately shift to Seika Tanden breathing. For counts in through the nose, expanding your lower abdomen. Hold for 4. 6 counts out through the mouth. Hold empty for 2. Repeat this cycle for 1 minute or until you feel your heart rate begin to stabilize. Step 2. Sensory anchoring. While maintaining the breathing pattern, engage Zanshin. Quickly identify 5 things you can see, 4 you can feel, 3 you can hear, 2 you can smell, 1 you can taste. Don't rush this. Actually notice each sensation fully for a few seconds before moving to the next. Step 3. Emotion labeling. Now apply Metsuke. Observe what emotions are present without judging them. Mentally note, there is anxiety in the chest. There are thoughts about failure. There is tightness in the shoulders. Just observe and label, like a scientist taking notes. Step 4. Action decision. From this state of calm observation, ask yourself, what action does this situation require? Not how do I feel? Not what do I want to happen? But what action is needed? The samurai called this right action or appropriate response. When you're not hijacked by emotion, you can see what the situation actually demands and respond accordingly. Step 5. Committed execution. Choose your action and execute it fully. No hesitation, no second guessing. The samurai believe that doubt and hesitation create more suffering than wrong action. Once you decide, commit completely. Let me walk you through how this works in modern situations. Scenario 1. Job interview or presentation. You're about to walk into a high-stakes presentation. Your hands are shaking, your mind is racing with worst-case scenarios, and your heart feels like it's trying to escape your chest. Apply the protocol. Start the Seika Tanden breathing while you're waiting. Focus on that lower abdomen expansion. Ground yourself by noticing your surroundings, the texture of your chair, the temperature of the room, sounds in the hallway. Label what's happening. There is nervousness present. There are thoughts about judgment. There is excitement mixed with fear. Identify the required action. Walk in, make eye contact, speak clearly. Then execute without hesitation. Scenario 2. Difficult conversation. Someone is criticizing you or you need to deliver bad news. Your throat tightens, anger or defensiveness rises, and you feel the urge to either attack or flee. Activate the breathing pattern immediately while the other person is speaking. Ground yourself by feeling your feet on the floor and hearing the actual words being said, not your interpretation of them. Observe. There is anger appearing. There are defensive thoughts. There is an impulse to interrupt. Determine the appropriate response based on your values, not your emotions. Then speak from that centered place. Scenario 3. Overwhelming workload. You're drowning in deadlines. Your to-do list seems impossible, and panic is setting in. Your mind jumps from task to task without actually accomplishing anything. Reset your breathing first. Ground yourself by looking at one task on the list and noticing exactly what it requires. Don't think about all of them, just one. Observe the overwhelm. There are thoughts that this is impossible. There is anxiety about time. There is confusion about where to start. Ask what action is needed right now, in this moment. The answer is always singular and specific. Then do that one thing fully. Why this actually works. The neuroscience. Modern neuroscience has validated what the samurai knew intuitively. Let me break down what's happening in your brain when you practice Mushin. The amygdala hijack. When you experience pressure or threat, your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, activates. This triggers the fight or flight response. Blood flows away from your prefrontal cortex, your reasoning center, and toward your muscles. Your body prepares for physical action, not logical thinking. This is why you can't think clearly under pressure. Your brain has literally shut down the thinking parts to prioritize survival. The breath connection. The breathing technique targets your vagus nerve, which runs from your brainstem to your abdomen. When you do slow, controlled breathing with emphasis on the exhale, you activate the vagal brake, a mechanism that calms your nervous system. Studies using heart rate variability monitors show that this breathing pattern increases parasympathetic activity within 60 seconds. Your heart rate drops, blood pressure decreases, and blood flow returns to your prefrontal cortex. You literally get your thinking brain back online. Sensory grounding and the default mode network. When you engage your senses deliberately, you interrupt what neuroscientists call the default mode network, the part of your brain that generates worry, rumination, and self-focused thought. Brain imaging studies show that sensory awareness activates different neural networks, essentially forcing your brain to switch channels from the anxiety station to the present moment station. Cognitive diffusion and metacognition. When you observe your emotions rather than becoming them, you activate your brain's metacognitive abilities, thinking about thinking. This creates activity in the medial prefrontal cortex, which has an inhibitory effect on the amygdala. In simpler terms, when you watch your emotions, you calm them down. Research shows that people who practice this technique have measurably smaller amygdala responses to stressful stimuli over time. Their brains literally become less reactive. The training effect. The samurai didn't practice these techniques only during battle. They trained daily for years. This consistent practice created lasting changes in their nervous systems. Modern research confirms that regular practice of these techniques increases gray matter density in brain regions associated with emotional regulation. It's like going to the gym for your emotional control. The more you practice when you're calm, the more automatic it becomes when you're under pressure. Eventually, you don't have to think about it. Your body just responds with calmness. The 30-day Mushin challenge. Building your practice. If you want to master this technique, you need a structured practice plan. Here's a 30-day challenge that builds your capacity systematically. Week 1, breath mastery. For the first 7 days, focus solely on Seika Tanden breathing. Practice for 10 minutes every morning. Set a timer and do nothing but breathe with the 4-4-6-2 pattern, keeping your attention on your lower abdomen. This week is about building the foundation. By the end of week 1, this breathing should start to feel natural. Week 2, adding sensory awareness. Continue the breathing practice, but add 5 minutes of Zanshin practice. Sit somewhere and systematically notice your sensory environment. Don't just glance, really observe. What exact shade is that color? What's the texture of that sound? Get granular with your attention. Week 3, emotion observation. Now add the Metsuke practice. After your breathing and sensory work, spend 5 minutes observing your thoughts and emotions. Don't try to change them, just notice and label them. There is thinking about the future. There is mild anxiety. There is impatience with this practice. Keep a journal and write down what you observe. You'll start to notice patterns in your emotional landscape. Week 4, real-world application. This week, you're ready for live practice. Continue your morning routine, but now actively use the 5-minute protocol whenever pressure arises during your day. Set an intention each morning to practice at least once that day. Start with smaller pressures, an uncomfortable email, a minor disagreement, a crowded elevator if you don't like crowds. Don't wait for a crisis to practice. Once you complete the 30-day challenge, maintain your edge with these ongoing practices. Morning Mushin, 10 minutes start every day with the breathing and observation practice. This sets your baseline for the day. Pressure practice. Whenever you encounter stress, use it as training. Don't avoid pressure. Embrace it as an opportunity to strengthen your skill. Evening review. 5 minutes before bed, review your day. When did emotions try to control you? When did you successfully maintain Mushin? What can you improve tomorrow? Weekly assessment. Once a week, honestly evaluate your progress. Are you more responsive and less reactive? Are high-pressure situations feeling more manageable? Celebrate your wins and identify areas for continued growth. Common mistakes and how to avoid them. Mistake 1. Trying to eliminate emotions. The biggest misconception is thinking that emotionless means having no emotions. That's not the goal, and it's not possible. Emotions are part of being human. The samurai felt fear, anger, sadness, and joy, but they didn't let these emotions dictate their actions. They experienced them without being controlled by them. If you try to shut down all emotions, you'll create inner conflict and make yourself less effective. Instead, welcome emotions as information. Fear tells you something matters. Anger tells you a boundary was crossed. Sadness tells you something was lost. Listen to the message, but don't let the messenger take over. Mistake 2. Only practicing under pressure. Imagine trying to learn a language only by visiting the country and never studying beforehand. You'd be lost and frustrated. The same applies here. You cannot develop Mushin only when you need it. The daily practice when you're calm is what builds the neural pathways that will be available when pressure hits. Think of it like a martial artist drilling basic moves thousands of times. In a fight, they don't think about which technique to use. Their body just responds. Your mind works the same way. Mistake 3. Using it to avoid life. Some people misuse these techniques to disconnect from life or avoid feeling anything meaningful. They use being emotionless as an excuse to not care about anything or anyone. The samurai were deeply connected to life. They appreciated beauty, loved their families, valued honor, and cared about their purpose. Mushin made them more engaged with life, not less. Use this technique to show up more fully in your life, to be present with people you love, to pursue meaningful goals without anxiety sabotaging you. Don't use it to check out. Mistake 4. Expecting instant mastery. The samurai trained for years, often decades. While you'll notice benefits immediately, even one session of the breathing technique will calm you down. True mastery takes time. Be patient with yourself. If you practice for a week and still feel anxiety during a big presentation, that doesn't mean it's not working. You're building a skill, and skills take time to develop. Every time you practice, you're making progress, even if you can't see it yet. Trust the process. The samurai view of death. To truly understand Mushin, you need to understand the samurai relationship with death. They practice something called memento mori, remembering death. Every morning, samurai would meditate on their own death, not in a morbid way, but as a clarifying practice. They would visualize dying that day in various ways and make peace with it. Why? Because when you fully accept that death is inevitable and could happen at any moment, the small pressures of life lose their power over you. That job interview isn't life or death. That difficult conversation isn't life or death. That presentation isn't life or death. When you remember what actually matters, temporary discomforts become manageable. You don't need to meditate on death if that feels wrong to you. But consider this question. If today were your last day, would you really want to spend it paralyzed by anxiety about things that don't truly matter? Living with purpose. The samurai could be emotionless under pressure because they had complete clarity about their purpose. They knew what they stood for, what they were willing to die for, and what actions aligned with their values. When you have that clarity, decisions become simpler. You don't agonize over what to do because you know who you are and what matters to you. Ask yourself, what do I stand for? What principles guide my life? What would I be willing to sacrifice for? When pressure comes and emotions try to take over, these answers will guide you back to center. You now have the complete technique that samurai warriors used to remain calm in the face of death itself. You have the 3 pillars of Mushin: breath control through Seika Tanden, sensory grounding through Zanshin, and detached observation through Metsuke. You have the 5-minute protocol you can use anywhere, anytime. You have the 30-day challenge to build your practice systematically. And you understand the science that proves why this works. But information without application is just entertainment. The only way this knowledge becomes power is if you actually use it. Starting today, commit to the practice. When you wake up tomorrow morning, spend 10 minutes on the breathing technique. Notice your breath expanding your lower abdomen. Feel yourself becoming calmer, more centered, more present. Then, when pressure inevitably comes, because life brings pressure to everyone, you'll have a tool that actually works. You won't be at the mercy of your emotions. You'll be like that samurai on the battlefield, calm in the chaos, clear in the confusion, decisive in the moment. The ancient warriors developed these techniques because their lives depended on them. Your life might not depend on remaining calm under pressure, but your success, your relationships, your well-being, and your happiness certainly do. You have everything you need. The only question is, will you practice? The path of the warrior isn't about fighting external enemies. It's about mastering yourself. And that journey begins with a single breath. Now go practice. If this video helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Drop a comment telling me what pressure situation you're going to use this technique on first. And remember, the warriors who changed history weren't born emotionless. They trained to become that way. Your training starts now.